What is going on, y'all? How y'all doing today? We're going to let the room, of course, fill up. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. Had to help my daughter get her order of earrings ready to ship out. Took a little bit longer than expected. We're going to let the room slowly begin to fill up. Yep. Again, I want to introduce myself. My name is Anthony. I'm a founder of Becoming JD, where our mission, our goal, you guys, is to help you guys get to law school. So as the room continues to fill up, what's going on, Krista? What's going on, Nevi? What's going on, Vinsco? What's going on, this girl, Belly? I like that name. As the room fills up, I want you guys to understand what's going on, Legal Fee. I want you guys to understand that this is a space that is designed and made for you, a safe space for you to make sure that you get the questions that you want to get answered, addressed, so that way you're able to take the next step in your lawyer journey. As the room fills up, let us know where it is that you're viewing our session from. Of course, as you can tell from the background right here, it's nighttime over here. This session is taking place in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I'm holding it down at, originally from Nashville, Tennessee. But go ahead, let me know where it is that you're viewing our session from. What's going on, Trey Bell? What's going on, you guys? I want to make sure that this, again, is a space for you guys to get the questions that you need to get answered. My dog just messed with my light, and I'm over here trying to fix it. But we're going to make it happen still. There we go. All right, we got Miami in the house. We got Jersey in the house. We got Indiana in the house. Krista holding it down in Richmond, Virginia. Florida in the house. Where my folks from New York at? Normally they up in the house deep, but they're not here yet. But again, this is a space for you guys to get questions answered. I know right now we're entering into what I call uncharted territories, you guys. We're entering into a space now where people are applying to law school. Affirmative action is no longer in place. And you kind of want to be able to know you guys are going to be the first group. You guys are going to be the first group of folks that's going to be trying to get into law school without affirmative action being in place. And I know a part of that could make you guys nervous and scared, and I can understand that. Because let's be honest, I mean, we have very little representation as it is right now. What's going on? BK in the house. I was waiting for my New Yorkers to come through. But we are in uncharted territory. And I mean, right now we have very underrepresented in the legal field. And even now, it seems as if whatever little progress that we've been making, that progress is right now under threat. Let's keep it a buck. And so I want to make sure that you guys understand that when we're going to be applying to law school this time around, that's my dog Sophie right there. When we're going to be applying to law school this time around, our approach has to be different. We have to be a whole lot more assertive, and we have to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to set ourselves apart, to distinguish ourselves, because the very few seats, you guys, that we were getting before, like, those seats are no longer assured, right? And so literally there's an attack that's taking place to try to marginalize. What's going on, Miss Aunt Viv? There's an attack that's taking place with the mission of trying to reduce the level of representation that's happening, because we see it's already going down. You guys seeing it happening with the judges. We see it happening with the prosecutors, and that's what we're doing with little representation. The thought process for a lot of people is fear and thinking, oh my God, if they are making these moves right now, my dog, it's a love-hate relationship. If they are making these moves now, you guys, with so few lawyers of black and brown persuasion, what are they going to do if they continue to increase their representation? And so our goal here, you guys, is to try to encourage you, to motivate you, to give you guys the tools and skills that you need to be successful. If y'all feel what I'm saying, go ahead and raise your hand, because listen, man, we ain't going to be scared, y'all. We are not going to be deterred. Yes, we do see that the obstacles are now stacked up against us. We see that they're trying to take our books out of schools. They're literally trying to take our history away. Literally in Florida, they're taking away African American Studies as an AP course. But I want you guys to understand that do not be deterred. There's still pathways for you guys to go to law school. And I'm, of course, here to help you guys navigate this treacherous terrain to ensure that you're doing everything that you can, all right? So we got Taylor's in the house, all right? And so what we're going to do today, and I feel like a lot of times, I want this IG Live to be something where it's interactive. I don't like just talking to a screen. I want to make sure, Krista, I want to make sure, Kanisha, I want to make sure, Brilliant, I want to make sure, Patrice, that this is something that you guys are coming away full and fed to make sure that you know what you have to do. So I bring guests on. Literally, I have a guest. I have a guest on. Her name is Taylia Hines. She is a 1L at Howard, you guys. So guess what? She was literally in your shoes last cycle, right? And so I figured, as opposed to hearing from me, you guys need to hear some of the tea from people who were in your shoes slash heels. So that way you know what they're doing. So you could be able to replicate it. You get what I'm saying, Von Sway? You get what I'm saying, Sakia Skyler? Y'all get what I'm saying? Because again, our goal, everything that I tell you guys is because I want to see you win. I want to see you manifest your lawyer dreams. I want to see you guys take the next step in your journey. So let's go ahead and get our young 1L on. Taylia, I need you to request to join the camera. So just press the camera add button below. And that way you'll be able to join and they can be able to see you, okay? And so again, one of the promises that I always make during my sessions, you guys, is I promise that you guys, I want you guys to put any question that you have in the chat box. Because I make a promise that I'm always going to answer your questions, all right? And in addition to that, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, I know right now I have a couple of spaces open. Make sure you go to the link in the bio and book a pre-law strategy session so we can help you guys out. But without further ado, let's get it, Miss Anvil. We're going to go ahead and get Taylia on and get some of these gems. We're going to ask about her first week of law school, y'all, so y'all can get a preview of what to expect. Let's get her on. Is she... Can you stop walking by here? Can you stop?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Hey, 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 what's going on, Miss 1L? I am blessed. Again, I'm on live with Taylia. She's a 1L at at Howard Law School, for those people who want me to say it correctly. At Howard University School of Law, right?
Of course.
But nevertheless, I want to first thank you for taking some time to speak to us. And I felt like, because anytime I see y'all start dropping comments and advice in the comments, I'm going to holler at you guys because I want everybody to hear about these pearls of wisdom. And so, like I normally do with you guys, I want to first give you the floor to tell us, your story. How did you get to Howard? Where'd you come from?
And I ended up at Howard because I always wanted to go to Howard. But I just always felt like, hey, I should always get that HBCU experience. So I applied. I got accepted in May, and I made a decision to come at the end of May. And I just finished my orientation, and I'm on my third day of my first week. And it is definitely a lot, but I do feel like I was prepared from my undergrad classes and also like the LSAT prep courses I took.
All right, again, you guys, I want you guys to flood the chat box with questions, all right? Aunt Viv, I know you're going to ask a fire question. But one of the things I want to ask you, Taylia, because a lot of times, when they see that you went to law school, they be like, well, she had everything figured out. It was easy for her. And one of the reasons why we have this show, you guys, is because I want to normalize the struggle. I want you guys to realize that, a lot of times you just say, man, maybe it's going like this, but this is a sign from God that I should stop. And I'll be like, no, because ain't nothing about this journey easy. So if you can, take people behind the scenes and share with them, that struggle that you went through to get to the point where you are right now.
Yeah,
because the struggle means keep going and keep growing. It don't mean quit.
Howard, during our orientation, say that the beauty is in the struggle, and it really is, because without the hours I put into studying for the LSAT and all the time and effort I put into, doing the review courses, like I used 7 Sage, and like that was really helpful for me. It's really cheap too. It's like $70 a month. Like there's all types of different review courses you can use as well. And, those are really helpful. Also just studying on your own at home. It was not easy, but I'm seeing some questions in the chat. I guess I'll answer some of those. Starting with.
We can start with I am Kanisha Reed. She says, how was your application process?
Was pretty straightforward. I started applying in October, and I did not write an addendum. My GPA was a 3.5, so it was high enough for some schools, a little lower than average for others, but I, factored in a bunch of different factors. So obviously being a minority does give you a boost. Even now with the affirmative action ruling, you can write about your experience as a minority in your personal statement now, and that's like a loophole around this new legislation. So the application process is pretty straightforward. What was the best LSAT prep? I would say I used Seven Sage. I liked it. There's others out there, like there's Princeton Review. There's a lot, like Test Masters. I would say just look into your budget and like the time you have to, use it, because I was working full time when I was doing my LSAT prep, so I only really had afternoons. So if you're someone who's working full time, keep that in mind as well. How many schools did I apply to? I applied to 10, and I was accepted into 7 of them.
Right.
So.
All right, so I want to first take a pause. Now, listen, I want you guys to think about, break down what she said, okay? So first thing, the first gem that she dropped, Krista, is that she submitted her applications by October, right? So for her to do that by October, Love Mary Beth, what that means she had to do was she had everything else lined up by September. Because literally that means letters of recommendations, that means resumes, and everything had to be lined up. And so I want you guys to be able to understand, like, one of the things that oftentimes we have to be very attentive to, and Taylia, I want you to share this, is like when you apply to 10 schools, how
Yes.
was that? Every application asks you something different. And so talk about that attention to detail, because I'll admit one point in time when I applied the first time, boy, I submitted the wrong school's information to the wrong school. So tell people about how different all the applications were and how you went about ensuring
with the application
that organization
process,
when you click submit.
it is kind of like applying to undergrad, where you have all of your applications together, but each school will ask for different things. So you need to really pay attention to what you're putting in each one, because you don't want to put something that's intended for, I don't know, NYU in an application for, Howard. Like, you want to make sure that you keep it separated, and you can keep some things the same, like your resume, your address, all that stuff. But if you have a specific diversity statement or addendum you want to use for one school and not for another, make sure that you're like being careful.
Tanisha, did you get that? That means one size does not fit all. You cannot treat this like a snapback hat. One size does not fit all. Now, I want to ask you one particular question. Now, in your 7 schools that you applied to, was your approach different when it came to PWI
so I only
law
applied to
schools
one
compared to
HBCU law
HBCU
school,
law
Howard,
schools?
and I would say that my approach was not that different. Howard had a really early due date, so I applied to them first because their applications were due by February, and the other schools' applications were due in April. So I had to approach it that way differently, and also just being completely honest, like Howard's administration was a little slow to respond to stuff, so it was important to really reach out to them if you have any questions, or if you need any clarification on anything. Like, you have to be proactive. And with the PWIs, I added diversity statements, so that was one thing that was different versus with Howard I did not. So I think it's important to add a diversity statement if you are a diverse candidate wanting to go to a PWI.
All right, and again, I'm on the line with Taylia, a 1L at Howard, y'all. She's in day 3
Yeah.
of being down in D.C., where the brawl had been
Thank God.
apparently. You was able to dodge that, thank God. But with the 50 locals, and I hope everything is safe on campus. But one of the questions I want to ask, one of the things, again, I want to emphasize, Nancy, she says you have to be proactive. You have to be proactive in this process, y'all. And she was proactive with Howard because, hey, I love my HBCUs. As an HBCU grad, they don't have as many resources. So sometimes you have to be proactive. However, period, you guys, never share, you have to be proactive with all these schools. You paying your money that you worked or borrowed to be able to apply to. And you want to make sure that you're really making sure that you're being very proactive in that approach. I know in the last post I made to Lee, I tell people, I said, man, we can't be passive and be on the sidelines. We can't be scared, man. This is your money. This is your sacrifices, Nancy. And so you want to make sure that you're doing everything possible to make it happen. Now, one question I want to ask, another question I want to ask is, how was it in regards to, take us behind the scenes in regards to your decision-making process? Because 7 acceptances, that
Yeah, it
is
was
a
really
blessing,
hard
but
for
also it can
me,
be hard. Like,
especially
damn,
because
where do I
I
go?
applied to schools in all different places. Like, I applied to a lot of schools in New York. I applied to Howard in DC. I applied to Tulane in New Orleans. I I applied to schools all over, so I had to think about the lifestyle I wanted. I had to think about where I want to practice because I want to practice entertainment law. So I want to be in either New York or California, most likely. So I had to think about that. And when you're making a decision, you have to think about what is going to make the most sense financially, what's going to make the most sense for your career, and just what school like meshes the best with your personality.
Mm. And so,
I
what
didn't
was it
visit all
about?
of them,
How
but I
did you
did
go
visit
visit
my
all
top
these schools, or
three,
how did that go?
including Howard. And I just really fell in love with Howard's campus. And I really liked the idea of going to an HBCU and
Mm.
being around other Black aspiring lawyers because we only make up like less than 10% of the profession. So I thought that would be something really powerful.
Did any of the law schools pay you back for visiting the school?
No.
Okay. And so I want you guys to understand that although Taylia didn't get the law schools to pay, sometimes, most of the times, if you ask, and I wish I would have been able to tell you that, most of the time, if you ask, these law schools not only will pay for your flight, your hotel, your lodging, food, gas, everything. And so
Really?
I don't want you guys to think, because this is a huge decision. I mean, literally, where you go is going to determine, the value of your degree, where you go to try to practice. And that may not be a decision that you're thinking about now. That's why I tell you guys, it ain't about the nightlife, it's about the law life. And so you want to make sure that you get a good feel for the school in order to make, and if in fact finances is an issue, the law schools will pay for you to visit. And I just want to make sure you guys are making a very good decision. So, since you're early in the game, go ahead and tell people what's been going on the first 3 days. And I'm sure everybody wants to know how it is.
Um, it is not like undergrad at all. I thought it was going to be just like being in college. It is not. The professors expect you to know like the material that you're reading on the first day. Like they're going to assign you reading before that, but they expect you to have read it already. Unlike in undergrad where the first week you just like did nothing. It's not like that. The orientation week is kind of like that. Like in the orientation, you don't do a lot. They kind of just ease you into it. But once classes start, it's like game time.
And the thing about it, you guys, is there's no introductory. Is So tell people a little bit, because you've got a little early taste of the Socratic method. People kind of
Uh,
seen it on TV. Tell people how it was the first a couple of days of going through that process.
I'm really lucky. I haven't been cold called yet in any of my classes, but I know it's a matter of time. But it's definitely really nerve wracking because from what I heard from my classmates, you can know the material, but then once someone calls on you, you might get nervous. And it's really important to work on your public speaking now. So when you get to law school, you don't have to, build up that skill. Like I took a public speaking class in undergrad and I loved it. And I think it will help me with cold calling, but it can be stressful. But the good part is that we all say the wrong thing when we're cold called from time to time. So it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
And again, I'm on with Taylia Hines, a 1L at Howard University School of Law, you guys. Now, you got some more questions up in here. Some people are asking. They said, did you come immediately after undergrad, or did you wait a couple of years before going to law school?
So I had one gap year where I worked in marketing because my undergraduate degree was in communications. And I'm really glad I got work experience because the way law school is set up, you kind of have to put in 9 to 5 hours. Not like, you're in class the whole time, but you have to study for hours every day. So it's not like you can just go, to two classes and just do nothing the rest of the day. So working a full-time job kind of helped me be used to like being, on the clock all day, doing stuff all day.
And this is actually a good question, Krista, because we hear about gap years, we think about medical school, but oftentimes in the law, in our lawyer journey, we don't really talk about gap years because. So I want you to be able to share with people how you were able to utilize the experience that you gained in your gap year that had nothing to do with law and how you were able to apply it on your resume. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how do I take this job and put this on my resume to show skills that law schools will be like, dang, I want her in my school.
I definitely think that taking a gap year can be really beneficial, especially if you're not sure about law school or if you're like, you know, needing more time to study for the LSAT. Like, I think it's good to take a gap year. Some skills I learned in my gap year were definitely time management, the responsibility of having to be in charge of myself. Like, I feel like in undergrad, there's a little bit more like leeway in terms of if you miss class or if you're late, but at a job, it's not like that. You have to be there on time every day, getting dressed in a certain way. Like, my job was an office job, so I had to wear business or business casual. So, no more sweatpants, so I think it really helps you build a lot of important life skills. And I also worked in marketing, so it helps my writing because I was writing a lot of materials.
And so again, I hope you guys understand that from literally like what law schools are looking for in your resume is they want to be able to see that when you're in a space that you bring value there, right? And so in sharing what you're doing, now this is one of the questions I ask people, and I don't want people to do this, is that when you listed your jobs and things that you did in your resume, did you just list the job description where this was paralegal, dot, 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 marketer? I just copied and paste what a marketer does. Did you share with people how you end up writing those things in your resume?
Yeah, in my resume, I added a lot of information about the actual things I did in day to day
Mm-hmm.
and things that I thought that would relate to law school specifically. So I wrote a lot of social media posts in marketing. So obviously that built up my writing. I also added in, like, I had to write newsletters every month, so I added that in as well, like specific job duties. And I also like made sure to include extracurriculars from college that I did that would look good for a law school resume. Like, if anybody did any sort of like journal or magazine stuff in undergraduate or any sort of like mock trial stuff like that, you should include that as well.
And I'm over here scrolling through the comments. People are making different type of statements. And when it comes to, they say something about public speaking. Well, public speaking is something that you will need because, and I'm sure you found out now when you saw your syllabus, there's a big speech that you got to give at the end of the year that happens at every law school where you have to present your brief and it's and arguments. So you do have, even if you are going to be a researcher, you guys, at some point you're going to have to actually talk. So get it, and that's actually factored into your grade. I know that seems like way a long ways away for you, but it is definitely something to be coming down the pipeline. And so you doing that speaking is something that's going to be extremely beneficial for you. And so I know some of the other questions I want to be able to ask is like, what would you tell someone? What advice, what's one big advice that you would give somebody who is trying to make the decision in regards to, do I retake the LSAT or do I just try to apply? Because, I mean, you hear a lot of people say, a lot of people stop trying to apply to law school because they think they have to have this certain score.
So I took the LSAT twice. The first time I took it, I got a 154, and the second time I got a 159. So I definitely think that you don't need to have a 180 or 170 or even a 160 to get into law school at all. And you can get into good law schools with scores in the 150s or the upper 140s. You don't need to have a perfect LSAT score. But I do think that if there's a particular school you want to go to and you are not scoring like in their median, then it's worth it to, try to retake once. But you definitely should not beat yourself up and think that, oh, if I don't have a perfect score, I shouldn't even go. Because at the end of the day, the LSAT is only one factor in your application. I mean, you have other things like GPA, you know, your job experience, clubs you did, volunteer work. There are so many things that go into an application. Your LSAT is just one factor, but I do think it's worth it to retake if you have a very specific school you want to go to.
Now, Never Share said it right here. Sis wrote in the comments, she said, just apply. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. But I want you guys also, Mary Poppins, make sure you check what she just said. You know, if you have a specific school, then reapply, then reconsider taking the test again. But of course, you guys know I'm all about talking on the phone and calling people and getting answers. Now, of course, we are able to. What's going on, Gabrielle? One of the things we can do, we can, of course, be passive a little bit and go check out the law school's ABA 509 forms. You guys know what that is, right? Tell them what that is, sis.
509s, I can't remember.
It's the form that every law school is required by the American Bar Association to have, you guys. And with that form, the law schools have to give you the 75th percentile score they took and the 25th percentile score they took. This is also for LSATs and also for GPA. But, you know, we know that they still let people in with certain scores and certain GPAs. You know it, and I'm sure everybody knows it. We've heard the myths, and I tell you guys, that's why I tell you guys to go a step beyond the 509. You hear what I'm saying? I am Keisha Red. I want you to call them. Hey, what's going on Syracuse Law School? I heard I have fill in the blank LSAT score, fill in the blank GPA. Have you accepted somebody with that score in the past 2 app cycles? I'm telling you guys, that answer is the answer that you need to be able to do what Taylia said. Then I'm able to know, okay, have they let someone in my score before? If I get a yes, I'm not retaking the LSAT. Hell no. But if I get a no, I'm going to have to go and re-up and retake the LSAT. But a lot of times, you guys, we're afraid to do that call, man. So many things happen by calling. Taylia was able to get everything to work smoothly because she was proactive with her approach. And I understand now we're in a day and age where we don't like calling. We want to email. We can't do emails, y'all. And the proof of it is this. Taylia, I'm going to ask you a question, not to call you out. If I was to go to your phone right now, how many unopened emails do you have on your phone right now?
Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about it.
Mary Poppins, how many unopened emails you got on your phone right now? I want everybody to put how many unopened emails they have. I guarantee mine is more than everybody's, and I'm embarrassed, and I keep trying to fill it out. That's how many I got.
Wow.
So I want you guys to understand, if our emails are like this, Taylia, what do you think law school's emails are like?
Way worse.
Could you imagine how many emails Howard Law School gets a day? The admissions office? I mean, I know I'm about to say something that got nothing to do with law school. Can you imagine how many emails Felicia Rashad was getting in her box every day?
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, you guys, that's why we can't send emails. We don't check them.
No.
So we can't expect law schools to check them.
No.
And so that's why I encourage you guys to call. I tell people, I tell them call between 9 and 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Because 9 and 11, because let's be honest, after 11 o'clock, we're thinking about lunch. And after lunch, we're thinking about going home. So between 9 and 11 is that soft spot between Monday and Thursday. Because Friday, let's be real, on Friday, we ain't doing nothing but getting ready to go home. Right? And so I want you guys to understand what Taylia is giving us a pathway. We got to be intentional. We can't be scared. Mary Poppins said they do pick up phones. You're right, they pick up phones. And especially at my HBCU law schools, they definitely pick up phones. Now, will they call you back? That's a different question, right? But nevertheless, sis, I want to first thank you for taking the time to drop some gems. I want to send nothing but prayers and positive vibes your way as you start this process. And I hope you guys hear her story and realize that this could be you next year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
go ahead. What's some other things you want to say, sis? I'm sorry.
Oh, all I was gonna say was thank you so much for having me on. And if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me or reach out. I'm always here to answer questions. And like you said before, just because you don't have the LSAT score they say they want, they probably have accepted somebody with your score in the past, because there were a lot of schools I did not hit the LSAT mark for that I got into. So I think it's really important to remember that, especially if you're a minority, because there are so few of us in these law schools. They're willing to kind of bend the rules a little bit, because some of these law school median LSATs are just ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sorry I have to ask you just one last question, because somebody did ask a very good question from you. And it was like, well, how do you go about talking about diversity in your personal statement in light of there no longer be affirmative action? What's some tips you have for them for that?
So I can only speak from a Black perspective, but as a Black person, we definitely experience a lot of prejudice and people who make assumptions about us, in school from the time that we're young. So just talking about any experiences you had where somebody doubted you because of the color of your skin, or somebody in your life, like if you had a relative that was discriminated against, like talking about how your Black heritage affected your life and forced you to be that much better, that much more intelligent, added to your experience overall. Because what they want to hear in a law school personal statement is pretty similar to what they want to hear in like a college essay. Like they want to hear about how your experiences made you into the person you are today, and how that makes you stand apart from other students. So being a minority definitely makes you stand apart from other students. And even at an HBCU, you can still talk about your experience as a minority and why that makes you want to join a community of other minorities and uplift in the legal community.
Y'all got that, T? Now, we got to let sis go because, she got to read. She got lots
I
of
do.
reading and highlighting to do tonight. So, sis, thank you so much for joining us. And, she told you guys to shoot her a DM. Do not be scared. One thing I love about this community, we got the plug lawyer here too, is that we all want to see you win. Because we all, let's be a buck, we all done look to our left and look to our right and be like, damn, where are all the Black people at? Where my Latina brothers and sisters at? And we ain't nowhere to be found. And we want to see you win. And so please utilize these resources, utilize these queens, utilize these future lawyers who want to be able to help you win. So again, thank you, sis, so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me on, and let me know if you have any more questions.
All right, peace and blessings, sis.
All right. Good night.
Wow, you guys, that was amazing. I hope you guys, I saw some people came a little bit late. The plug lawyer, what's going on, sis? What we were talking about tonight is you guys dropping some tips and gems in regards to how to apply to law school. We, of course, are now in a new era. When me and the plug lawyer were in law school, affirmative action was live in full effect. Now it's not. And what we have to make sure that we're doing, you guys, is making sure that we're doing everything in our power to stand out. All right? Because we want to be able to understand that, guess what? These law schools will take your money, take your coins, and not accept you. And so we want to make sure we're doing everything in our power to give these law schools a reason to want to admit us. All right? And just by simply filling out an application and checking a box, that's not going to be enough. So everything we're doing, you guys, is to really make you have to be active and proactive in the process. All right, you guys, y'all see my sister here at the plug lawyer. She has an Ask a Lawyer Day on August 20th. Make sure you follow her and check her out. All right, seriously, she's an amazing lawyer doing amazing things. Says, you're going to drop on the live, I'll put you on whenever you're ready. But nevertheless, you guys, we want to make sure that you guys have all the tools and skills to be successful. I know right now we're in an era where it could be nerve-wracking. It could be scary. Because you're saying, I want to be a lawyer. And I see there's only 5% Black lawyers. I see that there's only 2% Hawaiian Pacific lawyers. Where is a place for me? is there a place still for me here with affirmative action not being in place? And what I'll tell you is that one of the things that we've been doing for the past 3 years is helping people get into law school by showing you guys how to write your essays, the how to be able to craft your resumes. Like you saw how Sis talked about her personal statement. It's about us making sure that we're providing stories to give law schools a reason to know that we can be successful if given an opportunity. And I believe, honestly, out there, I don't give a damn what your red flag is. I don't give a damn, this may not be right to say, what your LSAT score is. I believe if there's 199 law schools out there, there is a law school for you. And it's our job, I've made it my mission, to find those law schools for you. So that's something that you want help with. Make sure you go to the link in my bio and schedule a pre-law strategy session, and we will find schools for you. Find schools who will accept you. Find schools who will give you money regardless of your LSAT scores, okay? Because at the end of the day, I tell people, I said, we need more black and brown lawyers. And I've made it my mission to make sure that happens. I've been babbling my mouth. Let's see if we got people trying to join the video. Who's this? I'll go ahead and let our girl Tiffany come in here real quick. Y'all can go ahead and shoot her some questions. She's going to bring a lot of energy. Y'all be ready. Here she comes. Let's see here. What's
Hey,
up, what's up, what's up, sis?
look, I'm natural hair with the 2 little bun ponytails, but hey, we are always here to support the next generation. I'm so proud of what you're doing, and I love the diversity of topics because I didn't have one of you when I was in school. So I appreciate what you're doing, just like you've shown appreciation to what I do. Briefly, just to say what the Ask a Lawyer Day is. Ask a Lawyer Day is a day where you can talk to licensed attorneys such as myself, and I'm bringing 2 other attorneys along with me. The mission of the Plugs Lawyer brand is to raise the 1.78% of Black female attorneys to 5% by the year 2025. And so in the ways that I push that mission, this is one of the ways. Ask a Lawyer Day is
Beautiful.
3 dope lawyers. I got one from Missouri, one from Florida, and I am in Georgia. But the dope thing is all of us have Georgia practice experience as well as those other states. So if you are a law student, a lawyer, young lawyer, somebody that has a real legal issue, yes, pull up. They asked, will there be a criminal lawyer? I practice criminal defense as one of my areas. So yes, I will be there. Pull up. This is a way that we're bringing the law to you, making it accessible. Some people say, hey, Attorney Simmons, I can't afford your 500 plus an hour. This is the stuff that I'm doing to make it accessible. Stop hitting me in the DMs when I'm giving you the play. I'm for real. I know people be mad when I post their DMs and stuff, but stop playing. Stop playing. I'm giving you the play. Like you said, Anthony, we here. We're showing y'all we want to see y'all win, especially myself. Like, I didn't become an attorney to not service my community, but my community has to come and receive that service.
Right. And so I hope, like I told you, I said, Tiff come with that energy, but that energy that she brings is all sincerity, all love, and all passion for her community, for you to be able to manifest. We believe there's queens and kings out there that have all the talent to be lawyers, and we're trying to remove barriers. Yo, she just told y'all to come. All you got to do is, what she say? It's 2 words. Pull up.
Right, and then it's virtual on a Sunday at 11 a.m. So if you even do virtual church, it's the same fucking thing. Just go ahead and register at right.
She said the same thing.
Sorry, like, similar. But seriously, go to Eventbrite and register, because who else is going to bring the law directly to your house? Who else is doing that? Nobody but me.
And make sure you give me the link. I'll make sure and put it in my in my bio too, so people could be able to come to it. I'll be there to support it as well. And
Okay.
so, because the thing is, you guys, one of the things that I thought about, I was just like, for so many of us out there, and you guys who are viewing it, the first exposure that we ever got to lawyers were, I guess it's kind of Felicia Rashad on the Cosby Show. That was the first time I saw a black lawyer. It wasn't in real life. It was on TV.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes because of that, we put attorneys and lawyers on this pedestal and think that that's not something that I could be because I haven't seen it, a lot of it. And so we created these spaces so that way you guys are able to see lawyers doing the damn thing. Like my sister over here, Tiffany, doing the damn thing over here in GA rep. Y'all see that ice? She always rocking the ice, right? And so we want to make sure that you guys utilize these resources to help you guys win. I hope that this session was helpful for you guys. I know tomorrow we're going to be having our free silent study hall. And so make sure that you register for that. I know we had an amazing guest last week who dropped some serious tips. I don't have a guest this week, but we just going to be studying. But nevertheless, utilize this as a wonderful tool. I'll tell you guys right now, there used to be a day and time, and Tiff can attest to this, where if we wanted to find out about lawyers, we had to go on Google, we had to go on the internet, we had to go in a phone book. You guys have access to lawyers.
Let me tell you one better.
Go ahead.
I get passionate because I just know the steps I took to get here. And it ain't nothing, you can't shortcut the grind. Like there was a time when I knew I wanted to do entertainment law, because that's another practice area of mine, and I do stuff in entertainment. My very first year of law school, I went to the office of Charles Mathis. May God rest his soul. He was an Atlanta attorney. He made a lot of money doing personal injury. Then he transitioned into entertainment law.
Right.
Well, I went to his office at damn near 8 o'clock in the morning and sat there till somebody arrived. The first person I met was his executive paralegal, or his main paralegal. To this day, Miss Carla is a resource to me. To this day, I still speak to that woman. So again, you can't shortcut the grind. A lot of people see the plugs lawyer and, oh, that's a brand, and they may say it's hood, they may say it's great. I don't know what they say. But I say all that to say, before the plugs lawyer, I put in the groundwork. Before what y'all see on the internet, I was doing the work. And sometimes you have to do the work for free. Sometimes you have to do the work when it hurts. Sometimes you have to give in order to receive. You have to be a servant before you can be king and queen. And a lot of us want to be king and queen without being that servant first.
Now, sis, come on. I want to peep on this story that you just talked about, and I want people to break it down. First thing first, we got to let people know. Now, Tiff is on a whole nother grind, but it's all based off of energy and effort, you guys. If you want something, you got to go for it. And just to give a quick rewind, Tiff pulled up to the law school, and tell her what she did at the law school to get in. Please, refresh that memory real quick.
When I came on with Anthony before, I shared how I actually got into law school. I had been applying for schools for 2 years straight, did not get into any school at the time. A mentor told me, check out my alum, Atlanta's John Marshall Law School, and I did. In the midst of me checking out the school, it started with a phone call. The phone call was, hey, I'm Tiffany M. Simmons. I know I'm supposed to be in school. How can I get in school? The director of admissions told me, oh, no, there is no way you can get in this semester. You can apply again next semester, or blah, 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 blah. But in the midst of her telling me no, she told me a yes, because she told me, well, really, the only way you can get in for this semester, which start next week, is if the dean lets you in. So when she said that in the phone conversation, guys, I did not take her no as a stopping point. I didn't take her no as discouragement, because she gave me the key to the door when she said, you might get a shot with the dean. So the next day of school, the next day, I showed up to the school.
Pulled up.
Yes, I pulled up like I'm telling you ninjas to do. I pulled up to the school and I said, "Hi, Dean Lynn. I'm Tiffany Simmons. You know, I know I'm supposed to be in school. I was told the only way I can get into school is if you look at my information and you let me in." And sure enough, I had the proper paperwork, which was an LSAT score, my transcript from FAMU. Shouts out to the HBCUs. And I had, I think, a personal statement. I never filled out an application. I never did none of that process. I did what a faith move was. And I pulled up on faith and I asked him to look at my information. And sure enough, the next day I did get that call. Yes, we're going to let you in this semester. You need a $500 for your seat deposit. And can you be here at 1:00? And that was 12:45. And sure enough, I had my butt there at least by 1:30, sitting there, and I was in school.
Malika just said, wow. I want you guys, but see, you guys, that means that you have to step out your comfort zone. Everything, I don't want to sound like a Steve Harvey quote, but that's going to be really true. Everything that you want, you guys, is to step out your comfort zone. There's law firms that you could pull up to right now, tomorrow. Of course, you know, don't be pulling up the Tiffany spot without calling first. But there's law firm.
Else, I shoot guns.
But there's law firms out there, you guys, that you could be able to pull up on, right? This is one people don't do, but I did this one, and may sound crazy, but hey, this is what I did. I pulled up at courtrooms. I found all the black, because I was in South Carolina, and you know, ain't that many black judges or brown judges for that matter in South Carolina. So I pulled up all of the judges, all the black judges in South Carolina. I found out when they were having sessions, and I just showed up.
I love it. And that's dope as well. I've even done that. Let me fast forward for the young lawyers, because you might have some younger lawyers that have already passed the bar.
Tell them.
Now, let's talk about when you out there and you're learning how to practice law, the business of practicing law. You're not going to have, if you're a first generation attorney, you may not have a job that's starting you off at $250,000 just because you graduated from Duke or you graduated from Yale. You didn't just make it. That is the start of your new road. So, one thing you said of pulling up on the judges and watching them. As a new lawyer who didn't have clients 14 years ago, that's what I did. I printed out my business cards. I showed up to the courtrooms. If you are a new lawyer and you're looking for work and you do criminal defense or you do civil litigation, go to the courthouse, sit at the courthouses, let the judges know that you can be a conflict attorney. And what a conflict attorney is an attorney that the state or the government will hire that's outside of the public defender's office. So, for example, if there is a person charged with a crime and they charged with a co-defendant, the conflict attorney will take the co-defendant and the public defender's office will take the other co-defendant. That doesn't mean that I work for the state. That doesn't mean that I am a public defender. What that means is that is a part of running a business. If you have private practice, you become a vendor for these counties, for these federal offices, become a vendor for them and provide your legal services. So that is another tip that I will share with you all. If you are a new lawyer, a younger lawyer looking to pave your way, don't cheat yourself. Treat yourself right. Don't think you could cheat the grind, because you can't. The ones that have cheated the grind that you may see with the glitz and the glamour, they're going to pay for it later. I thank God I'm still here 14 years in the game. I thank God I'm still here 14 years in the game. I thank God because what I saw was TV judges, and that's why I have my TV judge show, Hood Court. But I didn't come from this. So I thank God for having me, and I thank y'all for listening.
Man, I hope, are you guys picking up all this tea, y'all? I'm seeing Shoot, First James Films, giving flowers, Dom Croc. You guys, this is all stuff that you can do. And the thing is, one of the things I tell people, it's because you don't come from this is why we built like this. Because you had to work your butt off. Shoot, what's the worst they gonna tell me is no. How many law firms I showed up to, they told me no. Hell, if I show up to 7 and I get one yes, it's worth it. And I want you guys to understand that you're looking at 2 examples of that. And utilize this as if you can relate to these stories, that means you can also relate to the wins. And so I better see y'all, because I'm going to be there. I better see y'all on the 20th.
Like, y'all can do this. I got one more tidbit, because look, y'all got me.
Make it rain, sis.
I'm not from New York. I'm from Heaven's Ghetto. I was raised in Michigan. Let me share this other thing. A lot of people may have seen the viral pink sauce that was out. Have you seen that pink sauce?
Yeah.
The chef puts on the wings and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't a fan of the pink sauce. I ain't even gonna lie. But I did see how sis went viral. And it went to a store. I think the store was Walmart.
Yeah.
So today, it was very disheartening for me to see that she now has a GoFundMe up asking for help because she's not getting paid for her product. Now, I shared her story, and I didn't do it to shame her or none of that. But it was a travesty how many people that I run across just like her that may have a business, that may have a brand, that may have social media clout and all of these things, but don't have sense enough to be accountable enough over what God has blessed them with to hire a lawyer. Stop looking for God to fix it when God places the resources around y'all to do it. I'm not saying everybody got to hire Simmons Law. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is accept accountability, because there is knowledge out there. There is people that are skilled out here like myself that does excellent work for our clients. And it is a tragedy to me to see that young lady or that older lady, I don't know her age, but to see that woman with such a brand and a following. She got over 100,000 followers. But I hope I see sis on the Ask a Lawyer Day Sunday, because it's nothing to spend or extend the money and the time to the resources that's going to help you, grow and help you build a proper business and help you maintain your business. Stop thinking that lawyer is supposed to fix it after the problem then fucking blown up in your face and all the shit is fucked up. And excuse my language, but the people that know the proper usage of a lawyer knows that having a lawyer being proactive instead of reactive is always better.
Absolutely.
So my tip for the community, the business owners, the influencers, the brands, the model actors, all y'all, stop playing with yourself and y'all brand by not hiring the proper people and then coming to the shade room in the internet crying on Beyonce's internet when y'all could have fixed that shit.
Okay, we got somebody. Let's see here. Somebody said, Mary Poppins, I love her. She said, find a lawyer and put them on retainer. The average Black professional blows that much money every month. That's real.
Pin her comment. Mary Poppins, you act right. Pin that. I have seen men, I'm sitting in the strip club with them, spending the money with them, but they'll come to my office like they ain't got it. You got me fucked up. If you can spend it on some ASS, you can spend it on this LAWYER.
I love how you spelled it. All right, we got Nevin Share. She got something. She said, and this is a good question for you. She says, say if you're going to law school outside of the state that you want to practice, how difficult will it be applying to law jobs in Georgia coming from PA or NY? So, like, how many lawyers do you? I mean, everybody and their mama go to ATL. So, I mean, so how difficult? Tell them about that experience.
Well, I've been here in Atlanta. I've been here a long time, so I can't necessarily say, you know, I came from somewhere else and then tried to practice here. But what I can say is there are a lot of lawyer groups. If you're coming from another state, I would recommend that you join those or get connected with those, because it starts with those connections. I've seen people, like, for example, I'm in a lawyer group that's on Facebook. I've seen other, you know, new lawyers moving from other states. They'll post on there, hey, I'm moving to Georgia. What can I do to get involved? Does anyone have any leads on any jobs? Those are things that you can do. But also do things to set yourself apart. The same things that Anthony talks about with law school, you have to do that once you become an attorney. So if you are a new attorney, a young attorney, coming to myself, I would tell you 99% of y'all coming saying, hey, I need you. Can you mentor me? Well, imagine if you was that one person coming with something different, saying, hey, Attorney Simmons, here goes something. I know you are more seasoned than me. Here goes something my generation like that may benefit your business. Let me show this to you. That person might get a call back from me quicker than everybody that's just coming needing something. And I say that, and I want y'all to just keep that in mind, because everybody has people that are put, you know, if you're a licensed attorney or a leader or a mentor type, whatever, it's all sorts of people pulling at us. Yeah. But there are very few people that try to be a resource. And just as we're a resource to you, you could be a resource to us. Absolutely. When you remember that young kid I posted that you reshared his post?
Caden, my man.
Caden, another example. I shared his information, gave him a little roadmap. Now you see him in Black Enterprise. But just as I've done that, I've also asked him, hey, this is reciprocal. And I'm going to just be quiet.
So listen, you guys. All it comes down to is resources and action. The resources are there now, y'all. Please, you do not take the words of what we're saying lightly. Utilize these words, apply them, and make actionable steps. Yeah, people may say no. Yes, you may get some people that may not respond, but apply these, because just like I tell people, all you need is one yes. All you need is one opportunity. You don't need 12. I mean, don't get me wrong. My sister Taylia, she got into 7 law schools. Oh. But hell, all I needed was one. Yep. Yep. And all you need is work for that one and understand that there's a people, there's a community out there to help you. But also make sure that you're feeding into that community too, not just taking. Right?
Yeah. And then remember, all you do need is that one. I wanted to go to other schools, but my mentor told me, those other schools, they didn't accept you. But if this school can get you the same piece of paper that those other schools can get you, go ahead and try it out. So again, if you're looking to get in school, be open to various possibilities. Right. Now, we do know that image and name means something, perception means something. But at the end of the day, if God told you a lawyer, you listen to God and take those steps. If he's sending you to Yale, or if he's sending you to Atlanta's John Marshall, or FAMU Law, wherever he's sending you, just use it to your advantage and blaze your trail, y'all.
But you know what? That's how we're going to end tonight's live. You just dropped a serious dime. So thank you guys, everybody, for joining us tonight. I hope you guys apply these valuable tools, because we want to see you win. We want to celebrate your success. And I better see y'all on the 20th, because I know I'm going to be there. Peace and blessings, you guys. Take care.
Thanks, Anthony.